Hi, my name is Janessa and I'll be talking about nonverbal communication and autism. In particularly, I'll be talking about masking. Now, masking is a term you've probably seen online, but I'll give you some more context so you know better what's going on. You can probably tell the difference between these prototypical examples of 6 basic emotions, but people with autism can have some trouble with this. Now, what does this have to do with nonverbal communication? Facial expressions are a form of nonverbal communication, and people with autism can have trouble understanding and recognizing and interpreting this kind of nonverbal communication, which means that the recognition or lack of recognition can be used as a diagnostic or stratification marker, meaning it can help assess the level of autism a person might have. And there's technology being developed to help adults and children be more, quote unquote, social and be more mindful of the nonverbal communication at hand. But is this beneficial? We'll get to that. What is nonverbal communication? Gestures and facial expressions, smell and the way people would touch, that kind of thing. For this particular video, we'll only be going into facial expressions. So why does it matter? Well, facial expressions are a way to communicate, and if you miscommunicate because you have different interpretation, that can lead to all kinds of problems, not only the way in people communicate with others, but it can also have very mental taxing repercussions as well. And autism brings along kind of all sorts of possible issues, but again, we'll be focusing on nonverbal communication and facial expressions only. So people with autism can have trouble understanding certain expressions, and some expressions give more troubles than others. So you can see there's a difference in the number of times the emotions that have been shown are recognized. So why do facial expressions matter? Well, again, because it's a way of communicating, and without having that properly aligned, you can get loads of issues. People with autism have a different baseline, so they communicate happiness differently, but they also interpret happiness differently. And they've also had people with autism mimic others, and turns out they just have different connotations with, say, a smile. So they kind of have a different language than neurotypicals. And you can see this in this graph as well. It depends on what kind of emotion. So it's not a uniform difference, but there certainly is a difference. And the same goes for eye gaze, which is a form of nonverbal communication. If I were to look at you all the time and just keep my gaze on you, you'd probably feel uncomfortable. But we, as neurotypicals, usually don't go, well, it's been 3 seconds, let's look away now, because we don't train this kind of thing. It's ingrained in us. And this is not the same for people with autism. And there are different levels to this. Again, so this is the stratification part. And some people need more support, and some people require less support, and it's usually the case that people who require more support have more difficulty with understanding nonverbal communication. And here's where the technology comes into play. So they've developed an app for children where they can learn and understand their own emotions, so they have to log their own emotions, and then they kind of see, oh, well, I've been feeling angry, and it's something they have to consciously monitor for themselves. On the other hand, there is this game that's being developed which teaches children with autism how to smile properly. So how long do you hold a smile for if you want to appear to be a neurotypical? And I think this crosses the line maybe into masking territory, where you kind of pretend and mimic neurotypicals in order to fall in line and be more uniform and have the same language. And the same goes for this particular study, where they had adults with autism trained for interviews. Now, they have this AI, this robot, and test and see how this interview is going and what kind of response would be preferable and what would be more in line with a neurotypical. And again, I think this is very much like masking, and I don't know if you want to or should want to push neurotypicals who kind of have a different language into having the same language as neurotypicals. Because if you see nonverbal communication as a language, why would you then have neurotypicals speak in the same dialect? I think it's an odd thing to do, because it's also been proven that masking, so imitating nonverbal communication of others, leads or could lead to repercussions such as a burnout, and it's quite unhealthy. So it's something to keep in mind. We all have our own languages. Should we then follow the same lines as other? Well, thank you for listening.